Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Man, we've gotten pretty far in the Call of Duty franchise when we're on the 4th iteration of just one of the like 3 different series of games they've got going on. But this time there was something special because...
Can you thrust jump? Can you wall run? Can you confirm we are 100% boots on the ground? Okay. Wow.
The boots had never been this close to the ground in the past decade, and damn, I didn't know people could get that excited about an announcement like that. But anyway, we got to the multiplayer beta in the summer, pretty fun. Blackout beta rolled around, really fun. So this game seemed to have it all. Zombies on top of the multiplayer and Blackout experience made it kind of a 3 games in 1 type of deal and seemed like good value for your money. Though obviously a lot of people were pissed they removed the campaign entirely from this COD, but hey, let's brush past that for now. So the launch was happening, high scores on reviews were starting to pop up, the game started to go live in different regions across the globe, and it was finally here. So let's talk about what Black Ops 4 has to offer in terms of gameplay in its 3 different gameplay aspects, starting with multiplayer. Multiplayer is pretty fun. I know a lot of people that bought the game because of Blackout actually that still ended up playing a good amount of the multiplayer too, and even went for some of the camo related achievements and stuff. I also know an equal amount of people, and probably more to be honest, that had their achievements progress for the camos reset multiple times. You just log in and you'd have lost progress out of nowhere. Pretty dumb, and this was broken still weeks after launch for some stuff, and with how much Treyarch know that their player base gives a shit about shiny guns, I'm honestly not sure how they let the game launch like that. Still fun to play some multiplayer though, I guess, but at the end of the day, it obviously just offers the same type of gameplay you get from Call of Duty every year. Nothing too new and exciting there. I feel like the trailers always make the multiplayer look so much better than it is. Wait, we're doing some, like, Overwatch thing this year? Okay.
All zones. Hostiles have the bomb.
I swear, most people don't even know that B exists. This is just a discount AK. What? Alright, I mean, this is just getting a bit ridiculous at this point, but whatever. Alright, I think you kind of get the idea. All this specialist stuff and the almost class-based shooter that it kind of becomes, the new weird equipment and all that still feels a bit out of place to me, but I guess overall they at least added something to spice up the typical multiplayer experience, and I don't know, I guess it's just not for everyone. Moving on though to Blackout, arguably the first AAA Battle Royale. Blackout was very hyped due to how it seemed to offer a Battle Royale experience similar to PUBG, but with loads of interesting perks, items and other aspects on top of the standard BR experience. Blackout is exactly that, and for the most part runs and plays the way you'd expect a AAA Battle Royale game to. But anyone that's played this mode also knows about the issues around armor, how crazy long it can take to kill people, how weird the weapon balance is, and also just how bullshit those special nades could be.
Behind both sides, both east and okay, last guy should be west.
Why did I just see my goat? What just happened? Blackout was also riddled with bugs ever since the start, and some weren't too bad, even hilarious at times honestly. But stability patch after stability patch, and some people still had issues with various Blackout crashes and bugs, and most of the people I played with just kinda got used to playing with the bugs for a while, at least at the time. Oh my god!
Got 3 fucking guns! He's got 3 fucking guns!
Do you see it now?
Yeah, turbine's fine.
Oh.
No.
Hey! I'm gone!
Stability patch!
Stability patch! Stability patch!
This, together with the tick rate and lag compensation problems and other networking issues as a whole that were discovered early on, put quite a lot of people off, and was all definitely a big talking point around the launch. A big part of the feedback around the Blackout beta as well was how armor overall in the game was kinda annoying and not working the way people wanted it to. The devs acknowledged this early, yet it still took them roughly 3 months since the beta to add in the type of system and fixes that people had been asking for since beta. Now that it was added, it also just happened to be included in the same patch that introduced, you guessed it, more DLC and new microtransaction cosmetics of all sorts. All in all though, if you haven't played PUBG to death or you're looking to experience Battle Royale for the first time, then Blackout is actually pretty solid. I just don't see it lasting for nearly as long as PUBG or Fortnite, especially as it's missing those type of leaderboards, custom lobbies for communities to set up tournaments in, and other more long-term kind of competitive aspects. Now to Zombies, the last of the 3 modes available in Black Ops 4. At launch, Zombies was a bit of a mess. People's games were crashing for various reasons left and right. Some of these issues even made certain objectives and Easter eggs extremely hard or even impossible to complete on some of the various maps. Some people that paid a few dollars for the different temporary gameplay advantages in form of in-game elixirs too, even lost these mid-game as they'd use these elixirs to get a temporary boost that they had paid for, and then the game would crash. Kind of another AAA fiasco. To be fair to the devs though, they did actually improve here, just like with Blackout over time, just not really at the pace they needed to, and a bit too long after launch. Once again, a lot of people were thinking that letting the game launch like this seemed kind of weird and forced. It seemed like some stuff just wasn't quite ready yet. The new maps are pretty cool though, the story and lore is complex but intriguing, and it still is the same COD Zombies that we've seen in the 3 other Black Ops games, and this is probably also why I haven't come back to it much myself. World at War introduced Zombies, Black Ops 1 really improved on it and was the first big zombie experience. Black Ops 2 and 3 added further maps, some of them really good. The new zombie stuff in Black Ops 4 though isn't really making the game mode that much better or that much worse. It's just kind of the same in terms of gameplay, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But if you haven't really played Zombies before, the Zombies experience this time around is actually pretty cool. Still the same old, play with your friends for a few hours late at night type of mode that is easily enjoyed by all types of players. And that's what the COD Zombies mode, in my opinion, has always been all about. Anyway, moving on to one of my favorite parts of the discussion. Let's take a look at what Activision have to offer this time around. For the first week after launch, there was still very little info around the microtransactions and cosmetic system as a whole. Not sure if that was a coincidence or just so the reviews could come out and people could buy the game first. But anyway, after launch week, the so-called contraband supply stream was unlocked, and at first glance it didn't seem terrible. Spend time in game and unlock cosmetics over time. Clearly inspired by another certain game, this system could be alright in theory as it let you unlock cosmetics for free. However, some people did the math later that day and realized it would take somewhere between 200 and 400 hours of total playtime to get through all the 200 tiers within the 53-day deadline. So obviously you'd have to buy some of the crazy overpriced tier skips to actually get there. Oh, but Activision were not done there. 2 weeks later, they activated other parts of this cosmetic system, including the in-game currency COD points. COD points are pretty pricey, but hey, maybe you could at least buy some cool skins for them. Like this one here for $6. I can barely tell the difference between the default character model and some of these skins. Even the more expensive ones that do actually look different still felt like something a 5-year-old had designed in a coloring book. And they were charging like $9 for some of these. Though just like with some of the other stuff, the devs did actually address a lot of these issues. But once again, it was 2 months after launch. The contraband system was updated and changed from 200 tiers to 100 tiers. Daily tier skips were introduced in all game modes. The quality of cosmetics and amount of interesting cosmetics was upped a lot for the contraband system, and in the game as a whole, some of these new skins actually looked pretty cool. These are not fantastic improvements the developers themselves have decided to add to the game, and it's also not Activision all of a sudden going, alright guys, we've taken enough of your money now, and are now acting nice out of nowhere. This is just the way that it should have worked since day one. Black Ops 4 is a solid game at its core that seems to have been somewhat rushed, plagued by various bugs and a horrendous microtransaction system at launch, but with the improvements that have been made over time, it's really not that bad. There's stuff in there that appeals to most different types of players that are picking this game up, but if you've decided to give this game a pass, you're also not really missing out on any groundbreaking Call of Duty action from this year's installment.